This is the 827 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor the coming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please call me directly. Be greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Tov Kuf Chaf Aleph to Tov Kuf Chaf Hey Gimel. Tov Kuf Aleph. Din Shilshul Peiros B'Yontim Makam Makam, to drop down fruit from place to place on Yontif. Mishi Yeshel Peiros Barah Matar B'Shabbat Bar somebody has fruit and sees with rain coming. Mr. Meneheb said he's afraid of a loss. He threw Chacham Shishal Peiros Derech Haruba. I'm allowed him to drop down fruit down a skylight Shabagag. Drop them down on a rope. They know from large and they fall on the ground. Or to toss them afterwards on the ground. Even though there's an effort, but the over the whole and a weak activity, nevertheless, they allowed us may have say because of the loss. Shalom may have say, but there's no loss involved. They're not allowed us. If even they have say, if there is loss, you're only allowed you to toss them down through to lower them through a skylight in the roof. Shurak Shulshu, which is only to lower them down. Vlog bar, not to lift them up. To have a say, which is too much of an effort. They also Shalshon Derech Halonos, therefore it's forbidden to lower them through windows. So in the wall, they should be concentrated like being out of Chalon, because that case you have to base them onto the window, hide and then lower them again. Therefore, if they're on the same level as the window to begin with, Lake Rak Shulshul, there's only lowering. Bilbad, that has to be done. Mutar is permissible. Should not lower them with ladders or madrigas or steps, whether with a rope or without a rope. God don't carry them from roof to roof. I'll be ashamed of shoving, even though the roofs are equal in level, because of the effort. Even if they're there like a stockpile, and even if to finish that stockpile, mutar you're allowed to do they so you don't leave any over. The variation, in fact, means that those are not sure about this. Base, potatoes. You can cover fruit, or kakade yain, or jugs of wine, or levanim, or bricks, because of the some rain or some other liquid dripping on them. Tim Nehef says because of loss. Litin klitachas adela, kinin b'Shabbos, beyond to put a vessel underneath whatever dripping on Shabbos, like the one Yontif, and these parts in Shalom been explained previously. Tav Kuf Chabes, that's why I'm assuming something should not have to carry Yontif. Ain't assuming Yotze Maklo, a blind person cannot go out with a stick. If you can go without a stick. Shabbos, place where you cannot carry out on Shabbos. Nor a shepherd with his knapsack. Even though there's no prohibition of this is like a weekly activity. I don't obviously if a person needs it, and it's not over the chol anymore. But in any event, even if the place you're allowed to carry like you are, the places of it doesn't look like it's weekly activity. But chiger have a gan cane. A lame person needs a stick. It has same parameters. Writes in Rashal that to take from a house to a chutzner, even the house and chutzner didn't make an erev together on Shabbos. Of course, that's also. Mishul writes that a sick person who is no longer sick but still needs the stick in order to walk around properly, he's allowed to use it on the altar as well. He's not allowed to. He can't walk without. He can walk without the stick. It's also can't work the stick in the Rosh Hashanah or in a place down there. Maybe can't walk without it. Mutter is permitted to walk with it. Shabbos. Shabbos is discussed. You can't go on a chair, man or woman. It's like a sedan chair. You sit in the chair. I don't know. People carry you by kisei in the chair. They move their chol because it's weekly activity. Again, any unless you can't walk in any other way. A person who is needed by the masses, such as a rav, he's allowed to go in the sedan chair, even he can't walk. It's difficult for him to come. Because of the press of the masses. So he's elderly and it's difficult for him to walk. But you can even take him up on the shoulders. Each person puts his hand on his friend's shoulder. Kisei Alam, they put the chair on top of them. Zeu Yosef the Chol, see more of the Chol. If you're about Piyongim in Chuppah, even in some sort of ornate chair like a chuppah, the little under umbrella, parasol. The ish it can't be under parasol because we talk about umbrella issues. Some sort of ornate chair like a sedan chair for a noble person. The isha shrab mitzvah a person for the needs necessary for the masses. Either they allowed it for him. Back it says here by two b'tazim okay, from b'achshavei mostly the common really don't find this nowadays. But it would be no good to a bicycle. I don't think we can make our own xeros on bicycles, but nevertheless, if we it is a move to the chol, and therefore there are certain parameters which would apply to that, which are perhaps similar to the sedan chair. Mishis kapsu gide shokov, somebody whose thighs have shriveled. Yochel makel, he can go with a stick. You can't direct an animal with a stick. Love me tam muktam because the muktam I feel makam even the stick is prepared from yesterday. Was that that's to bear that purpose yesterday? It's permit utter. Time is near kilo malicha shuk lamacha because like you're taking it to the marketplace to sell it. But does malichin bin that's when you take it in that way. Tav kuf chav gimel. Dinim hanoagim bebehemus yontif. Laws that do with animals are yontif. Al Baskin Mark says muta karer ukatsei behema. This is types of combing the animal. They try to so much going on behemoths in grass. You comb the animals with a comb. The cure having migresh barzel. Cure is using a metal comb. Sheyochel yos shetasachabura could make a wound in the animal. Nevertheless, we're not concerned with this. The davar shein miskavim muta, something which you're not don't intend to do. It's permissible. Kitsu migresha, Kitsu is using a wooden comb, which can't make wound. It's kind of a way which is not going to pluck out hair. There is such an issue like with our combs for human beings. It's obviously it's something which is going to happen automatically. It's like not allowed to comb your hair with a comb, which is going to pull out hair. To write with our comb to subside ratio. Voice and chance written to see that everything goes up Shulchan Aruch. Based on Rambam Perush Mishnah Mechena Aruch Perush Acher. They say it's a different shot here. The Lomar in the club say we're not about combing hair. So by the also it's certainly also no matter what type of comb you're using. Hachabrush doesn't mean to say she's moving. I'm stopping b'yarchos shabemos. There are flies which cling to the thighs of the animals. They bucking them and they adhere to them. Yeshim Ktanim. There's some very small ones. Kshnolim some lachil sheteh sechabura. It would contain make a wound. It's actually parasites which bore into a cow's back, botfly larvae and such like. The larger ones which won't make a wound. It's allowed to even remove the smaller ones. To make a wound because the bigger ones don't make a wound. I don't understand anyway. How can you allow moving the flies? The muktzah. That's pretty because of tzar bali chaim, because of the anguish of the animal. Or perhaps because it's the comb, you're moving them with something else. It's moving indirectly. So the permitted purpose. The purpose animal should davar mutter, which is permissible. I think that's why it would be permitted, says Arukh HaShulchan. You can't midwife an animal. I'm signing myself, but you can assist it. You can hold the calf or other offspring that doesn't fall to the ground. Even though you can't check the day, it's Muktzuzman. And it's Muktzah thing become contaminated. Sarah Godel. They allow this because the great anguish the animal is suffering and giving birth, perhaps being born as well. Also, if you knew that it was fully formed, you could check the day. You can breathe into its nose, which evidently starts the calf to start breathing if necessary. So breathing, you can put the animal's udder into the mouth of the calf. And if you have a mother animal which has rejected its calf, you can spray its the liquid from its placenta, or the sac, the placenta. I'm not sure which one. The placenta sounds like the sac. on the animal, which makes it arouses its mercy, the mother's mercy. And he also could put a fistful of salt in the mother animal's womb. There's a that somehow helps her have mercy on her offspring. Payment to unless it's came by an animal which is not kosher, you shouldn't do this. It's made low baraka. The animal which is not a kosher animal does not reject its child. If it does reject a child, it's not, none of this is going to help get it back. The water from the amniotic sac, that's not the sac. It's definitely muktzah. Nevertheless, it allows because of the anguish. Or perhaps using something else indirectly to take that, which was obviously okay, like we saw in the previous sif. Several things which are forbidden on Yontif. Aleph, ain't only magabi elon. One can't go up on a tree, be Yontif. Because you might come to pluck a branch off of it. You can't ride an animal. Maybe you'll pluck a branch to prod it. It's because you have to not act, make an animal kind of Yontif. Simulation above. Beyond Messiah and Sham, we explain this with Shabbos, even top side K. In Yesh Visas Behemta and Lav, there's an issue of the rest of an animal or not. Your animal being a rest or not. Loshem Ne'amayim, you can't swim on the water. Gzeo Shem Yasar Chavish. Shelter might make a flotation device. Piklisho Guma, it's like a rubber tool. Shosim Kamin Chavis, which you make into like a barrel, like a balloon. Lamadim Bala shoot and use in order to learn how to swim. Base, Lom Sapkin. Don't clap. I know that goes Kafal Yerach. No, sorry, Kafal Yerach. Hand on the thigh. Lom Sapkin, that's clapping. That goes Kafal Kaf. Clap one hand on the other. Ben Shosem Achmas Kas. We're doing this because of anger. Ben Shosem Achmas Simcha, or because of happiness. Because Hashem Tagan Glei because my got to fix musical instruments. Rambam Pirish Hanigun. It has, it's actually making a tune. Vakar B'tzaltzal, like hitting a triangle. Chen or symbols. Chen lo marakdim. Is that time those can dance on the Yontif Nogim Lahaka Rikud? The minute is to be lenient with the dancing. The marriage can be kafa kafa in Yisor. Shulchan says also people are not so careful not to clap. Light time Mishum Chena became Tikkun Klishir, perhaps because we're not bucky in how to fix, we're not experts in how to fix musical instruments. Famous Rabbi Moshe Feinstein says it's okay because since the Xera is Batel, because most people don't keep the Xera, and Xera those Kavu Rov Yisrael can happen anytime in history, not just the time the Xera was made. Well known and controversial Rav Moshe on that. I believe the Minchas Solosar, if I recall correctly, says, and I think I mentioned probably Shabbos, both of these things, is that for only Chazal would only ask from Misnagdim, not for Chassidim. Something along those lines. Came up below Donim below Machrim and you can't judge on Yontif, and you can't make something a cherem, such as a cherem which goes to the Kohen. Below Makdish, you can't make something kektesh, below Marichin, you can't make something give a erech. Most of these things you don't do nowadays. Below Makbin, Chumas to Mice, can't take up Chumas to Mice, which is still practical. Below Makachu and Ish, you don't get married. Because in Chuppah, you don't make a Chuppah. Below Miyami, you don't do Yibum. Below Chotin, don't do Chalitza. Plus the Kash can be married woman, I feel like Shane Luisha Barim, if he had no children or a wife or children till now. That's why Bein Tam hold the Chaygav Mutzi, but have a wife or children, you can get married Yontif. Thinking that's Rashi. Rashi does not agree. But Rambam, nor does the Rambam, but Rosh, nor does the Rosh. Lamagarshi, you can't divorce a feel, but you can marry Yontif, even the girl was written before Yontif. By the Shtech, and even through a messenger. I mean, if Shimon knows somebody is dying, the Chazin talking to Leamos, he's about to go. Chali Shor is Kukli Yom, and she might remain in Aguna, who still has to undergo Yibum. You call it Taylor Field Shabbos. Give it again, even on Shabbos, Choshkim Yontif, and certainly Yontif. The brackets he says here, Madamachim, Ksuz Mem Zayin, Shish Klis Chubur Shabbos, sounds like you have to make a Chubur Shabbos. Zemina Torah, that's Midoraisa, but not Midrabaran. Amir Elio Rabba. Tav Kasva Torah, the Chol Elushim Asu Ben Mishoy Ben Mezim, Masha Asu Asu. If you did any of these things, marriage, divorce, etc., makes a hekdesh, hecher. If you did it already after the fact, it's effective. Let me say you have Ilamai. Don't say if you did something which Torah said not to do, it's not effective. What's like Mishpat in terms of sale on Shabbos, that it is effective. Tough Kuf Chav Hey. Dine hava yontif. The law of a loan on yontif. Both. Okay. Aleph. Kasina b'Shabbos. Doesn't say Shabbos. Idmar. Havas yontif klomar. Shiova mena ochlim mamashkin shad dorish yontif. You borrow eat food or drink or anything else you need for yontif. Rabbi Nitno Litav Beiser says you can claim it back in court. Because you won't come to, otherwise people won't come to loan if they can't demand it back. People are going to curtail their simchas yontif. You can't demand it back in court. And if I'm sorry. So it can be demanded back. People are going to come to write it down. Mishnah writes that when you borrow, you should not say a language of a loan. Just say, give it to me. And obviously the understanding is that he'll give it back. Ketzah says, so according to what you're supposed to do in order to make to commemorate the loan, Yasa Yitam and Mashka collateral. Whether it can be collected based or not, it can certainly be collected between the two parties. So you can seize it. And if the borrower seizes it back, then what's in the base? Then you go to base and then take it away from him. So because the guy borrows, seizes it back, goes a thief. Came in Dinah because the lender took it according to halacha. The time of the rabbah, the reason the rabbah, even though you could use collateral, why does rabbah say that you can directly collect it and base it? Nevertheless, maybe the borrower has no collateral. Well, want to give collateral, and that will undermine the simchas yontif of the potential borrower. And to rely on perhaps somebody able to work between the two of them, maybe you won't be able to seize it from him. They won't want to give the loan, so therefore they said that according to Rav that you can demand the basin. Based Tina Poskota says Rabba, you can demand back a loan made on the altar in court. And Rambam Perik Dala and Shalom Ram as well. For Rif Kosav Stadios, for both two bins, Shesh Misha Basa Karaba, those Baska Rabba, Misha Basa Karaba Yosef, the Baska Rav Yosef. Baukab Yichos Karaba Gabi Yosef, even though normally Paska Rabba fits to be Rav Yosef. Akarif Kares Rab Rava. Rif here is Rava. And therefore it's not necessarily Paskin like him over Rav Yosef. For Rif Leachri, the Rif didn't come to determination. Tema Tush Kosa Rif Paisa Rav Yosef. It's astonishing that the Torah wrote, Gwensavar wrote, the right that the Rif Paskin to be Yosef, male Rav Yosef, like Rav Yosef, and then the Kamla need only Tava. And there we all that you are allowed to. Sorry, it's astonishing. And the Torah that wrote that the Rif Paskin is like Rav Yosef, that therefore we can. This is the one that says you can. So it's astonishing in the Rif. So therefore, Paskin that and astonishing the Torah that wrote that the Rif wrote Paskin Rav Yosef. And since that's astonishing, it means to Paskin like Rav or Rava, whoever it was, and you can demand a basin. Gimel Kasa Rama Gabay Tzedakah. Rama writes that official in charge collecting tzedakah. Can collect from courtyard. But they should not make pronouncements like they do weekdays. And they collect in private. Even those in the toch chaykom and put it into their jackets. In other words, don't make a public spectacle. Distribute each neighborhood independently. Can't go to a Torah Yerushalmi. If you Shabbos, even though you can make pronouncements about mitzvahs even on Shabbos, you can do it in private. If he's according to this, you can't do it in private. Mutter, before you're allowed to do it in public. And with a pronouncement. The lo mipnei lo hilaniyim because of some that's a more superficial issue of the proper spirit of Yontif. We're not going to deprive the niyim of the wherewithal to have simchas Yontif.